humidity 85%. Winds were northeast at 8 miles an hour, producing a wind chill of 20. The pressure was 30.26 inches and falling. In Meridianville, skies were cloudy. The temperature was 26 degrees. The dew point was 23, making the relative humidity 88%.
Interrupt your regularly scheduled basketball game. Wanted to provide you with a little bit of an update. Now, the basketball game, as you may have seen, is in halftime. Don't worry, we're going to finish this up. We'll wrap things up before the end of halftime, and we'll get you back just in time for the second half of what is one of many college basketball games being played right here on Fox 54 this afternoon. Beginning to see a little bit of a break in the action across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. We've had a fair amount of frozen precipitation across the Tennessee Valley. There's a number of roads that are deemed impassable and therefore closed, not just here in Madison County, but across a good chunk of North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. We have an exhaustive list of all of the impacted roadways up on our website, fox54.com. Feel free to go check that out. Now, we are still talking about a little bit of frozen precipitation up in southern Middle Tennessee. At this point, this activity hanging out north of Fayetteville. And what's interesting, once you get a little bit further to the north, well up into Tennessee, north of Shelbyville, now we're getting close to Nashville at this point. Franklin, Spring Hill, Columbia. You're familiar with all those cities. You see them on signs every time you drive up to Nashville. At that point, they're talking about a fair amount of snow. Murfreesboro, Tennessee, those folks talking about a fair amount of snow. So take that into consideration if you know anybody that's traveling, or if you yourself were planning to travel up to Nashville this weekend. The situation a little bit worse up in southern Middle Tennessee compared to what we've been talking about here for a majority of North Alabama. Current road conditions across the Tennessee Valley. First across northwest Alabama, where they have seen significantly more freezing precipitation than everybody else has. They have seen a lot of sleet over in northwest Alabama, so their roads are considered to be very icy. Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin counties, Giles County, even up in southern Middle Tennessee, their roads are going to be considered very icy, just considering the amount of sleet. Now, it is important to remember that this lines up with the forecast almost perfectly. Our friends over in northwest Alabama, Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin counties are actually under an ice storm warning, and that ice storm warning is going to carry them all the way through Sunday evening. We do have a reporter out in northwest Alabama. He's been hanging out in Florence for about the last day or so. We'll get to him in just a second. He's had some really interesting road shots. You've really been able to show off a lot of that sleet that they've seen. Other road conditions across the Tennessee Valley, maybe slightly icy portions of Limestone County, Lawrence County, maybe even northern Madison County, where they're talking about some ice-covered roadways. Now, it says snow-covered once you get up into Lincoln County, Fayetteville, even northern Madison County, northern Jackson County, but I believe it's having a difficult time maybe distinguishing a little bit from snow and sleet. So I would anticipate up in southern Middle Tennessee that maybe that's more sleet-covered roadways, so kind of leaning towards the ice category. Otherwise, we're talking about wet roads at this point, probably still with some slick spots across the Huntsville Metro, back into Decatur, down into Coleman. I don't think they've seen a lot of frozen precipitation down in Coleman, so not really all that impactful. This is a massive system. Look at this, extending all the way back into Mississippi. That is a lot of sleet and freezing rain extending back into Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, a lot of just straight liquid rain heading down into Louisiana, South Mississippi. There's also some thunderstorm activity associated with that as well. As a matter of fact, South Alabama could get some thunderstorms as we head into the back half of the weekend. A lot of snow up across Tennessee, a lot of snow heading up into Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana. Snow going to begin to move into Ohio. I've got some friends up in central Ohio. Those folks are forecast to get anywhere between 10 and 12 inches of snow. I wanted to show you kind of a regional look at airport delays, and honestly, seems to be moving rather smoothly. Huntsville International not reporting any major delays. Birmingham, Nashville not reporting any delays of any kind. Even Memphis is doing okay. Now Memphis, they have seen a lot of sleet, a couple of inches of sleet as a matter of fact. Some folks over back towards Memphis have seen a little bit of snow as well. Atlanta International, we spoke to them earlier. They're not reporting many delays, a true testament to the crews at those various airports and how clean they're able to keep a lot of those runways. So definitely some good news there. Let's look at current temperatures across the Tennessee Valley. Now, these temperatures are rising a little bit slower than we initially thought, right? 29 degrees right now in Huntsville, 26 in Athens, 27 in Decatur. Everybody west of the I-65 corridor is still sitting in the mid-20s, 25 in Florence, 25 in Russellville. Now, part of that is going to be due in part to the fact that they have seen so much frozen precipitation through the course of the morning. Much warmer over in northeast Alabama. Look at that, 32 freezing in Scottsboro. But then I want you to look at Fort Payne. Fort Payne sitting at 38 degrees, 34 in Arab, 39 degrees in Albertville. These numbers are going to continue to rise, albeit slowly, through the rest of the afternoon. 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're going to begin to see the temperatures rise a little bit quicker. Live look out over the Parkway. We're looking southbound on Memorial Parkway. Been watching a couple of cars travel by occasionally. Now the Parkway is closed, so everybody that is traveling is being forced to use the access roads. And kind of from this view, it honestly looks like the Parkway might be starting to dry out ever so slightly. And we haven't seen a lot of falling precipitation here in the Huntsville metro area over the last hour, hour and a half. A couple of cars moving by there, definitely a little slower than normal, but that's to be expected. They should be moving a little bit slower than normal. I have another view for you. I was hoping a car, there comes a car coming up 431. They would be looking, they would be traveling south on 431, heading down into Owens Crossroads. As a matter of fact, I want to take you out live. We're staying kind of here in town. Our own Nick Kuzma is actually live this morning. It always seems Nick gets to do the fun jobs of going live in winter weather.
Hey, good afternoon, Jordan. The words of the day, certainly slick and icy here in Northwest Huntsville. We are right in the heart of the village of Providence, next to the newly made 2020 Providence building and right outside the Starbucks, right at the corner of Town Center and Providence, Maine, here in the village of Providence. And I'm going to be honest with you, very cold.
Nick is just so cold, he went completely and totally silent. Now that 2020 at Providence, I do believe they have a rooftop pool. I think we should put Nick up in elevation a little bit the next time we talk to him. Anyway, this is Governor's Drive, 431. This is 431. This would be southbound on 431. So the folks that would be driving on your screen there would be heading down into Owens Crossroads. 431 actually doesn't look that bad. Looks relatively dry right now. Now 431 was also pre-treated yesterday. Now let's talk about the biggest impact on society. It's definitely going to be across northwest Alabama. Now I want to show you a view over in northwest Alabama. Now this is going to be Highway 72 and Cox Creek Parkway. Again, they have seen a lot of sleet over in northwest Alabama since the earliest hours of the morning. Sleet and freezing rain began to move into that neck of the woods somewhere between 4 and 6 a.m. Look at this. That is a lot of accumulating sleet. That is, believe it or not snow, but it is a lot of accumulating sleet. And it also looks like there that you can kind of see some drier, not as covered in sleet roadways. So definitely some good news there. And again, a testament to the road crews that have been working incredibly hard. But as you can clearly see, the impact has been much greater over in northwest Alabama. If we come back to me, we'll continue to talk about how we anticipate that the impact is going to be greater over in northwest Alabama through the rest of the afternoon. And then as we head into the evening, if they're going to continue to see ice, which I anticipate that they will, we could begin to talk about some sporadic power outages, Lauderdale, Colbert, down into Franklin County, especially as we head into the later part of the afternoon and then early into the evening. We could also see some increased impacts up across southern Middle Tennessee, Giles and Lincoln counties, where again, it's anticipated that these folks, Pulaski, Fayetteville, are probably going to get a little bit more in the way of frozen precipitation compared to the rest of us. Anticipated impacts on society once you get down to Athens, Decatur, Huntsville, Arab, Coleman, Scottsboro. It's anticipated that impacts overall are going to be much less. Yes, we had some frozen precipitation this morning, but as we'll talk about here in just a second, when the temperatures rise, those frozen spots are going to begin to melt. At the same time, we're also going to begin to introduce a little bit of liquid rain to the Tennessee Valley. Now here's Futurecast, 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon. Look what's happening, kind of something very interesting here up across southern Middle Tennessee. We're talking about a little bit of frozen precipitation, Giles County, Lincoln County, back across northwest Alabama, Lauderdale, Colbert, and then down into Franklin County. We're talking about some frozen precipitation, but everywhere else, temperatures are going to climb into the mid-30s, maybe even the lower 40s. So we're going to begin to see just some straight liquid rain build into the area. And like I was just mentioning, that's going to do some good, especially across the Huntsville Metro, Athens, back into Decatur, Arab, Albertville, Coleman, because whatever ice accumulated this morning is going to melt as we head into the early part of the evening. And then we're going to continue to talk about straight liquid rain for the vast majority of us. So no new issues are going to come about. Even as we head into the overnight and then early into your Sunday morning, temperatures are forecast to stay above freezing. And then look what actually happens across northwest Alabama. It looks like temperatures could climb above freezing there as well, which would actually limit the amount of additional frozen precipitation that falls in Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin counties up across southern Middle Tennessee. 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, we are talking about at times widespread heavy rainfall across the Tennessee Valley. As a matter of fact, what could end up happening as we head into Sunday afternoon, we could end up talking about the potential for a little bit of localized flash flooding, some ponding of water on the area roadways. But then as this entire system begins to wrap up, it does look like we are going to see a bit of a changeover back to a little bit of sleet and freezing rain, specifically across northwest Alabama. All of this is going to get out of here as we head into the later part of Sunday afternoon, and then as we head into Sunday evening. From there, our focus is going to turn into the cold that's going to develop across the Tennessee Valley Sunday night and then early into Monday morning. 20 degrees, that's where we're forecast to be at by the time we get to 12 a.m. Monday. Teens up across southern Middle Tennessee, teens across northwest Alabama, where they've seen that ice. It's going to be colder. Everybody else is sitting in the lower 20s. From there, temperatures only continue to fall off by the time we get to the Monday morning commute. For those of you that are still going to work, for the kids that may still be going to school, it is going to be incredibly cold outside. Temperature is going to be sitting somewhere in the mid-teens, but then look what happens as we head into Monday afternoon. Temperatures are only going to climb into the lower 20s across the Tennessee Valley. So this is going to end up creating a problem. Whatever roadways are still wet Sunday night into Monday morning are going to end up freezing over. And then from there, they are going to stay frozen Monday afternoon. But I also think we could get a little bit of help in this category. The wind is going to begin to pick up Sunday night and then into Monday morning. I think the wind could do a really good job at drying off a lot of the roadways, so that's going to end up playing to our benefit. And then we cool off again as we head into Monday evening through the course of the overnight. Look at this. Some folks across the Tennessee Valley, Monday night, early Tuesday morning, could easily end up dropping into the single digits. From there, it does look like we'll finally rise above freezing as we head into Tuesday afternoon. Look at this. Temperatures forecast to climb into the low and mid 30s on Tuesday. At the same time, we also do have an extreme cold weather advisory. That's going to be in place for everybody except Giles County up in southern Middle Tennessee. And this is just simply to take into consideration the fact that it is going to be really, really cold. So this is going to run midnight to noon on Monday. I would not be the least bit surprised if this is continued, maybe not necessarily through Monday afternoon, but maybe reissue another cold weather advisory Monday night and then early into Tuesday morning. Let's look at ice totals. Anticipated to be higher across northwest Alabama. That should come as no surprise. They've already seen a fair amount of ice, and they're going to get a little bit more. Across far northwest Alabama, far Colbert and Franklin counties, those folks could be looking at an additional 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of ice. And again, like we talked about earlier, that could end up causing sporadic power outages. Obviously, that's going to lead to dangerous driving conditions. We could get some of the weaker limbs to fall off the trees, maybe some increased accumulation up across southern Middle Tennessee as well. Now, over the last couple of days, we've been talking about this backdoor cold air that was going to move into northeast Alabama. That, as of right now, doesn't look like it's going to end up being as dramatic. But if you're into Cobb County specifically, and then in Fort Payne, maybe you see a little bit of additional ice compared to what everybody else is going to get. Snow totals, unfortunately, we're just not going to get any accumulating snow this time around. Now, while the roadways could still be impacted as we head into your Monday. Things are also going to begin to improve. So the overall impact on society is going to be a little bit less on Monday. The greatest impact, at least temporarily across the Tennessee Valley, looks like it's going to come as we head into your Sunday, still across northwest Alabama, Lauderdale, Cobbart, and then as we head into Franklin counties. So winter weather transition to mostly rain as we head into the later part of the afternoon. That's going to be our next focus over the next few hours, is watching that winter precipitation transition into a little bit of rain as our temperatures actually begin to climb. That cold rain, once it builds into your specific location, it is likely that that cold rain is then going to continue through the evening, the overnight, into Sunday morning, and then through the course of Sunday afternoon. I've had a lot of folks ask me if they're going to be able to get to church on Sunday morning. I think you will be able to get to church on Sunday morning. Then we focus on the cold. I'll have another update for you at the end of the basketball game.